Let's check in with the financial markets now. And energy and mining stocks help British shares edge higher. The FTSE 100 blue chip, you can see, up 0.58%. House builders were hit by that government proposal to ban the sale of new leasehold homes. And we can now cross live to a guest on this. Beth Rudolf is from the Conveyancing Association. Conveyancing lawyers, of course, prepare all the documents for the transfer of property. Beth, can you tell me whether you think the current conveyancing rules regarding leaseholds in particular and all the charges surrounding them are unfair, as the Community Secretary has said today?
They absolutely are. We've been working on this for years. We've seen a rapid decline in the way that the developers behave towards leaseholders. And particularly in the last 10 years, we've seen these increases in escalating ground rents, which have now left approximately 100,000 people in a position where they can't sell their properties because of the unfair terms contained within their leases. So this is fantastic news today, but we need it to go a bit further. We know that on top of these escalating ground rents, they're also charging ridiculous fees. So perhaps to change a blind, I've heard people being charged £350 just to receive consent to change the blind in their house. It's outdated. It's just not necessary anymore to have leasehold. We've got common hold. It's just that, of course, the developers don't choose to make them common hold because they can't make any money out of it.
Do you think if these changes are implemented and leaseholds in their current form are banned or at least restricted, that the sale of homes will speed up because that process takes so long for many people?
You're absolutely right. We're now up to a ridiculous 16 weeks to buy a property. Elsewhere in the world, you have a legal commitment within 10 days maximum. So the government are working on that. Now, leasehold is a big part of the problem. A leasehold property takes 20 days longer to exchange contracts than a freehold one. And if you imagine that 1/5 of transactions are leasehold and increasing with these leasehold houses being sold, then it means that not just you directly impacted, but also if there's a leasehold property in your chain, which there usually would be with a first-time buyer at the bottom or a retirement home at the top, then it's adding 20 days. And we hear that there are delays of up to 55 days where information is not being provided. And the reason for that is there is absolutely no consumer protection from unfair leasehold and unreasonable fees in leasehold, or indeed the delays.
And just very quickly, what about those people who are already trapped in these long leasehold contracts? Because there's going to be a ban on new homes, but not those who are currently existing in these properties. Those contracts will continue.
Oh, yeah, my heart breaks for them. Can you imagine, having bought the property, then finding that they can't sell it, or that if they want to add a conservatory to make it bigger, then they're going to have to pay massive amounts. The government really need to look at this, and there is precedent for it. 40 years ago, the Rent Charges Act meant that rent charges were abolished. So there's no reason why we can't do this, and there's no reason why we can't put some proper consumer redress in just by making a tweak to some of the regulations and the legislation already out there.
OK, Beth Rudolf from the Conveyancing Association, many thanks for talking.